everyone, welcome back to another tasting series video here at Casa Larga. We're really excited to do another one for you, and this week we are focusing on reds. So as we kind of get closer to the fall here, reds become more and more popular as the weather starts to change. So we thought it was a perfect time to go through them. So we are excited to announce we have two different Rochester Red flights. We have the one we're going to talk about today here for our at-home taking kit. But we also have one in store too for in-store sampling. So whichever way you want to do it, whether it's at home or in here, you can come in and taste our Rochester Red flights. So here at Casa Larga, we actually have a lot of different reds. We're going to go through 5 of them today. First one on the list is going to be our Syrah. And this is actually our newest red that we created. We created it for the first time a couple years ago. This vintage that we have here today is going to be a 2017 vintage. And Syrah, if you've ever had a Pinot Noir, they're going to have a similar start to them. Syrahs are a little bit lighter in body, so those that maybe don't like a really, really heavy, super tannic red, Syrah is great in there for you. You're going to have great notes of blackberry, raspberry, really nice, dark, rich red berry to it. What's really great about the Syrah, if you like a little bit of spiciness, has a really nice black pepper finish on the end. Makes it really great to pair with a lot of different things, especially your meats. But it gives it just a really, really nice extra flavor coming around the end. And Syrah is gaining popularity here in the States. It's really popular in the Southern Hemisphere. You also might see this around as Shiraz. Usually when they're made in the Southern Hemisphere, they are known as Shiraz, but Syrah, Shiraz, same grape that goes into them, just a little bit of a different method in making, and of course a little bit different growing season from the Northern Hemisphere to the Southern. But a really, really nice red. Like I said, if you're into lighter reds, ones with a little bit less tannin, the Syrah is perfect for that. Nice and light, really fruity with a great pepper finish on the end. And this week, we're actually super excited because our Meritage is back in stock. We've been out of stock for a couple months as we've waited for our Meritage to be ready to bottle. So we're really, really excited that it's back here with us. And for those that don't know, Meritage is a type of wine, is a red blend. It is actually there is a certain quality it has to be to them. So there's requirements that you have to do in order to be able to name your wine Meritage. Meritage itself is a blend between the words merit and heritage. And that's why even though it looks like it would be a French word, it is actually just a blend of those two words, which is where you get Meritage from. And Meritage is actually, again, as I said before, there are actually requirements to be a Meritage. You have to use one of the 5 Bordeaux grape varieties. Can't use any other varieties. If you do, then it's not a Meritage. It has to be a blend, so you cannot do a full-on cab and call it a Meritage because it has to be a blend automatically. The blend has to be made up of 2 or more grapes, of course, and one can't be more than 95% of the wine. So if you fit in there, though, any of those qualities that you meet there, it leaves the winemakers to a lot of different varieties. So you can use a ton of those grapes. You can use them in any different method that you form, any different blend, as long as you meet those requirements, which makes the Meritage really versatile. It gives wineries a little bit more freedom. You know, if you grow a little bit more Cab Sauv than another one who grows more Merlot, you both can make a really solid Meritage because you can use those percentages differently as long as they fall into the requirements, which is really, really nice. Our Meritage here is a Cab Sauv Cab Franc Merlot blend, Cab Sauv 55%, Cab Franc 28%, Merlot 17%. What's different about our Meritage from our other red wines is that we actually use all of our red grapes from Block 1, and that was our very first block that we planted in 1974. And as grapes get a little bit older, this is true for red or white, generally your fruit is going to decrease in size. That does 2 things to it. One, you are going to get a little bit of lesser yield, but because your grapes are smaller, there's less room for water to get up in there, which can sometimes dilute the flavor a little bit. If you have less water, like in a dry season or in a smaller grape, there's less room to get in there, so you get a much stronger, rich flavor. So we use only grapes from that block for our Meritage, which gives you a great, full-bodied, rich, dry Bordeaux-style blend. You get the great berry notes from your cabs in there, a little bit of pepper from that Cab Franc. That Merlot gives you some more of that red berry in there. It's a great, full-bodied, really, really easy drinking reserve red. It is great for everything, but we love it with meat, doing nice steak, but doing also a nice red sauce pasta, You can even do it with pizza if you wanted to. It's a really, really great red for that. So it's super versatile, but it has, again, that really nice, rich, strong body to it that a lot of people look for in a red. Moving on down the line here, we are going to our Cab Merlot, which technically this Cab Merlot does fit those qualities to be a Meritage. Now, we don't call it a Meritage, we call it Cab Merlot, of course, because we have a Meritage. But technically, it still could be a Meritage blend. But our Cab Merlot is a Cab Sauv, Cab Franc Merlot blend. But coming from the other areas of our vineyard, so where you normally get, again, the Meritage grapes from Block 1, we get the grapes for the Cab Merlot across the entirety of the vineyard. So it is going to be a little bit younger, be a little bit lighter body, and I say that kind of with a caveat. When I say lighter body, I just mean lighter comparatively. It is still a very nice bodied red wine, not going to be light by any means, but compared to that Meritage, going to be a little bit lighter, a little fruitier, and have a little bit less dryness on the finish. So that Meritage is about a 0.1 residual sugar. This Cab Merlot is about a 0.5. So again, not much at all difference, but a little more berry forward from those younger grapes, and then a really nice, soft, easy oak. The Cab Merlot is kind of your everyday, easy drinking red. Goes really well with a lot of different things. Very soft, very, very easy to drink. It is also our top selling wine. So Cab Merlot has been our #1 selling wine for at least 5 or 6 years, if not longer. And again, I think that's just because it's a really nice, versatile red. Not too heavy, not too dry, just a really nice, smooth, easy everyday drinking red, which is why it's so popular. Great for gifting, but also just great for enjoying whenever you need it. Our fourth wine here, which actually is my personal favorite red that we do, is our Tramonto. And Tramonto is actually Casa Larga's very first wine that we ever created. It's gone through a bunch of name changes throughout the years. So if you've been drinking our wine for a while, you might have seen it as Estate Red, House Red. We had a couple fanciful names for it throughout the years, and we've ended up here with Tramonto, which actually means sunset in Italian. And the Tramonto has been pretty much the same, a similar blend the entire time we've been open. When we first planted our grapes back in 1974, our owner, Mr. C, wanted to create just a red and a white blend using the grapes that he had to kind of extend that yield. So it is actually a blend of all the red grapes that we grow. It's got Cab Sauv, Cab Franc, Merlot, Dijon, Pinot Noir, a lot of reds in there. And it's just a really, really nice a way to see kind of what our entire vineyard is together, where we've come from, where we are now. The Tramonto was made to be like a Chianti, tapping right into Mr. C's Italian heritage. He wanted that really nice red table wine that he was used to growing up with in Italy. That was just something that you could have on the shelf, grab it no matter what you were doing, a great sharing wine, great pairing wine, just a nice, easy conversational table wine. It is mimicked to be similar to a Chianti, and I say similar because it's not made in that Chianti way, and it's going to have some different flavors, but it has that great berry forwardness to it, and that soft little bit of pepper on the end. Very, very smooth, very easy to drink, and it has a touch more sugar, and again, this is all relative. It's going to be about a 0.6 residual, so by no means is that in the medium dry or the sweet range, but a lot of reds do fall kind of that 0.1, 0.2, 0.3%, so it does have a touch more sugar into it, which really just softens up the end a little bit. Gives it that nice little bit of berry, just a really soft, easy red, and it is your perfect red for any Italian food you want to do. Pastas, pizzas, desserts, it's there for everything. It's great to have just on the table. People can choose it as they want, and it's just a nice, easy red that goes with everything, which is why we love it. And we still make it today because it is our flagship original wine, which is really, really cool. The final red that we're going to talk about for this tasting flight here is our Porto Rosa. And Porto Rosa is a ruby red port. It's actually the very first port that we ever did here at Casa Larga, which is really exciting. And this is one that we actually partnered with Black Button for. So this is actually a Black Button bourbon aged barrel port. So we take their bourbon barrels that they had, we put the port in there to age, and it actually imparts some of that bourbon flavor that's actually been sucked up into the wood of the barrel. That actually imparts on the port, which is really, really cool and exciting. For those that aren't really familiar with port are going to be a little bit sweeter. Ours is about a 10% residual sugar, so it's definitely up there, and it's usually a sort of red blend. Ours Actually, a similar blend to that Tremonta we just discussed. It is Cab Sauv, Cab Franc, Merlot, and Deschamps. And we leave that a little bit sweeter because, of course, you want those really brilliant, bright red berry notes that you get through there with that little bit of sweetness. The thing with ports, though, is with that sweetness, these are fortified. So that actually means that we are, instead of just fermenting the grapes to get alcohol, we are actually adding alcohol in there. So the alcohol that we add in is usually a brandy, and that is what we used. It is a Cab Franc brandy, so it's actually made right from grapes, and it is made locally right here in New York State. So you make the wine just like a regular wine. You fortify it, which we did with that brandy. Then you put it into the barrel for aging, and it stood there for anywhere in between about 12 to 16 months for the port to give you that really nice sweetness, that nice warmth as it goes down. But then you start to get that little bit of that bourbon flavor in there. It's not tough, you know, if you're not a huge bourbon drinker, you might not even notice that there is in there. But if you like it, you'll notice it's got a little caramel, little vanilla right on the end. And that's coming actually right from those really, really great black button bourbon flavors. If you've ever had their bourbon, you know it is great and it's delicious. And this has a little bit of those beautiful notes in there. Not a ton. Again, you're not going to drink it and say, oh my gosh, it tastes like bourbon is in here. But you're going to get those beautiful, rich, smooth notes on the end that make it perfect for dessert. Port can be done on its own. Just drink it as it is. But you also pair it with dessert. Anything chocolate is going to be perfect. Brownies, cake. But you could do light things too. Cheesecake with some raspberry on it. Anything that's going to have some fruitiness is going to really go well too, because there's a lot of that cherry, strawberry, raspberry notes in there too. It's the perfect after dinner treat. Either do it on its own or with dessert to top off a good night. Really, really smooth. Gives you that beautiful warmth as it goes down and that nice dessert sweetness to finish everything off with. One of our most exciting products, like I said, it was the very first port we did, so we weren't really sure how it was going to come out. But we're super, super excited with the way that it came out. And happy that we were able to partner with Black Button to do a really cool, fully local made and aged product, which we love here at Casa Larga. We love doing things locally. We love Rochester, love Fairport. So it's great to be able to partner with other local businesses, other beverage producers to create some really, really cool local Rochester made products, which is kind of what we're all here for, which is exciting. So for these reds, all 5 of these reds will come with your at-home tasting kit. If you do our Rochester Reds kit in store, you will not have the Porto Rosa with that, but you could just chat with us and ask if you can add that on, and we can certainly do that for you. So feel free to order right on our website, www.casalarga.com, or you can come in the store and try the Rochester Red Flights. We are excited to be able to get our reds back out, and we know it's still a little warm outside. But as we get closer to the fall, we're moving into the perfect red season, and no better time than to release it. And we're so excited to be able to do this. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Keep an eye out for our next tasting series, and we look forward to either having your order online or seeing you in store for a Rochester Red Flight. Thank you so much. Continue to stay safe, and have a great rest of your day.